What if I told you ARK is one giant lie? What if I told you that? Would you think I'm crazy? Would you think I'm stupid? Or would you agree with me? Well, you guys might agree with me after this video. I'm going to start explaining myself now with as little word vomit as I possibly can. So, a while ago, ARK Park, ARK VR was announced. And a friend of mine was speaking to me about that actually, Shadlos, another person who had been giving me a lot of theories in ARK that I've shared with you. Too many of you, actually. More or less, we've come to the conclusion that if ARK Park and ARK Survival Evolved exist in the same universe, which there is nothing discrediting this as being a fact, but if they do exist in the same universe, and they are in fact the same locations and everything, well then, we may have proof of what civilization was like before the catastrophic event that happened on Earth. But in the process of that, we also know that the dinosaurs that were created, well, they're not dinosaurs. I wouldn't classify these things as dinosaurs per se. They're not the traditional primal instinct, you know, no person or thing can tame me, I'm going to do whatever it takes. No, they don't classify in my mind anymore as that kind of vicious predator. Seeing as you can tame them, they have been genetically modified. And I'm going to show you guys proof of this stuff in a moment, explaining my thought process on this and why this, well, I believe is something that's happening within the ARK universe. So give me a couple minutes of your time. I'm going to explain why we believe ARK Park takes place before ARK Survival Evolved begins on the ARK stations. 2, why I believe they intersect with each other and are on the same timeline. 3, why I believe that ARK Extinction is not the end of ARK. A lot of you have been freaking out lately, so calm down. I'm going to jump to a conclusion, so you guys stop jumping to conclusions, so don't worry about it, except my conclusion is going to have a little bit more foundation than the conclusion of others where this is the end of ARK once ARK Survival Evolved Extinction comes out. Because I can guarantee you, no way in hell. Wildcard isn't stupid. This game is a cash camel. They are making so much money. They would make so many more millions of dollars. They would lose out on millions of dollars because they don't want to work on their flagship game that has changed the gaming industry as we know it. No, come on. Throw me a bone. You can't believe that. I'm not going to believe it. Hopefully you don't either. All right, thumbs up. Leave a like on the video if you guys do enjoy it, by the way. And my final point, a new game coming out similar to ARK, if it's not already released. I haven't looked into it, or it's releasing soon or something like that. We're going to go over the trailer for that as well, because it's ARK related, and I wanted to show you guys this and get your input on it yourselves as a community here, basically. But guys, welcome back to ARK, and let's get into it. We've been ignoring something for far too long, and there's something about it that makes it easy to ignore. It's supply drops. Believe it or not, it's the harmless little supply drop. You go over, you get your cool items, and then you go about your merry way, and the dinosaurs are still aggressive. Well, what if I told you there may be a reason behind the supply drops that we haven't really seen? Maybe they're the things that are controlling the creatures and their aggression levels. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you need to watch the trailers in order to get where I'm coming from with this. Actually, Shadlos is the one that pointed this out, and he noticed a scene in particular where when the supply drops started falling, the dinosaurs went awry. Something was wrong with the supply drops, and then you can clearly see they are letting out some kind of signal, or they're doing something to the creatures. I'm going to let you guys watch through these trailers, then we're going to go over them again and explain the aggression of the creatures on the ARK. I want you guys to pay special attention to this scene right here. You can see the supply drops dropping down, releasing their signals or whatever they are. Assuming those are supply drops, they look and kind of sound like it, but we could be wrong in that respect. But there is something else you might not have noticed. There is a floating obelisk in the background along with a blimp. I don't know why the blimp's there, or the floating planets, but still, I want you guys to focus on this for a second. Ignore the building and ignore everything else. Look at the map. Now, I do not know. Looking at this now, I do not know if this is on Earth or if this is on an ARK. Part of me believes it's on an ARK because you can only see so far, and it's kind of created somewhat like an ARK would look, but at the same time, it looks like it might be on Earth. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I'm going to move on anyways. You can see the supply drops, and they caused issues for the Raptors primarily. They freaked out, and then you guys saw later on, everything started attacking everything else, and everything went awry. So are the supply drops in ARK causing aggression in the creatures, or was there something else changed? Because if we refer to this Explorer note right here, we will see a Helena note number 19. After going over my notes from Mei Yin's camp, I've concluded that the animals on the island are not only used to humans, but they're used to captivity. Even with their accelerated growth rates, their behavior indicates that they have been regularly domesticated for decades at least. Otherwise, they'd never obey the whims of mankind so easily. With that in mind, I believe that my theory about the island being curated is back in play. In fact, it's possible that not only are animal populations being controlled, but that the animals themselves are genetically modified. However, before I bring this to Rockwell, there is more rumor that I want to confirm. Right then and there, one, we know the creatures have been heavily genetically modified to weed out their primal instincts, which would be, hey, if it moves on 2 or 4 legs, I better kill it and eat it. Or, hey, look, a giant salad. Oh, wait, that's just a survivor's head. More or less, they've been heavily genetically modified and curated. You guys could see the creatures were fairly tame, and then suddenly the supply drop thing happens and they are no longer tame. It makes you wonder exactly what the park was all about. You guys also saw the Megapithecus, I think, is the boss name. Please don't skewer me for getting that wrong if that's not the boss name, but you saw that. That thing is ancient then, if that's correct. That thing has to be ancient. Now here's where it gets really interesting. You guys are gonna love this. Hear me out on this. Helena note number 13 states, well, this seals it. Just when I thought I'd make some sense of the notes I took while visiting the painted sharks, I spotted the nail in the coffin. Roos. A whole herd of giant roos were just hopping about the countryside like they'd always been there. As much as I love roos, which you guys know is the giant kangaroo, just for in case you don't know. You can see the picture anyways. They shouldn't be here, period. They evolved in Oz, and Oz only 60 million years after dinosaurs went extinct among a bevy of other marsupial. I'm not redoing that recording section, so you guys are going to have to deal with me not pronouncing marsupial. That, yeah. If I know any genus, it's this one. And Procoptodon should not exist here. This island isn't an ecosystem. It's a zoo. So, that's pointing towards if the ARKs, per se, are a zoo, or Helena is correct in saying it's a zoo, well then ARK Park curated the dinosaurs initially through genetic modification to domesticate them, use them as a zoo, and then at some point, either A, the ARKs were repurposed and made into a training ground for all of us as clones, or B, this all existed on Earth. We are seeing Earth before whatever happened, and then they took all of that DNA, made the ARK program, and then had us all go through fighting these giant beasts, hoping it would make us strong enough, along with the guardians that they implanted in through extreme genetic modification of already existing species to make them into the ultimate life form that would be an issue for us. Now, I want to take a moment and look back on the idea of taming. Of all the abnormalities that I've observed, the tamed megalodon sticks out to me. It was almost like they were stray dogs who were resocialized, as though they had a genetic history of human obedience. Most of my observations have been in the wild, but I think I may learn a thing or two if I observe a domesticated creature more closely. I need to study their diets, their mating patterns, and how they socialize with other species. Rumor has it there is some woman that's tamed a whole mess of them, all by herself. So many that they call her the Beast Queen of the jungle, which we know that's May actually. So we're going to move into this second trailer now, and we're going to shed more light on the idea of taming and just how old these creatures may be.
Imagine what it is like to follow in the footsteps of giants. Stomping on a planet just like Earth. Dinosaurs from millions of years ago are back. You want to know more about them? They are no longer just pictures in a book or fossils in a museum. They are living, breathing, roaring giants standing next to you. Now, open your eyes. Take a deep breath and get ready to see that everything you've ever imagined is real.
Don't worry, I know what you're thinking. It doesn't make you a bad person. I also wish that Rex made her into a chicken nugget-sized snack. Unfortunately, no, you can't, because referring to the previous notes that point towards the dinosaurs being genetically modified and also used to captivity and human interaction, we know that this Rex falls under the criteria of all of the references before. The normal Rex is a beast. It is the honey badger of ARK. It doesn't care. It doesn't care what you are, who you are, how big you are, how small you are. It is going to eat you no matter what. At least when there are supply drops around. I'm curious to know what the Rex will do within an environment that has humans with no supply drops. Based on the lore, from what we can see of the supply drops and their history or effect on the creatures, granted, maybe it's not supply drops doing it, might be something else that looks similar with those beacons shooting down. Maybe it could be the transponder node, whatever, that's shooting out of the ground. But regardless, I want to know what they would do, how they would interact with humans, then at that point. Now we are going to move into our final note, pointing towards all of this stuff getting wrapped up, and it's not necessarily about the Rex. However, it is about another very powerful ocean predator. So, in addition to all of the oddities I have found with wild megalodons, here's the real cherry on top. Taming them is a piece of piss. Please don't demonetize me. A bit of training and they're more obedient than the family dog. Now, I've heard of sharks getting very rudimentary training over a year or so, but not to this extent. Certainly not so easily. Sharks aren't mammals or even avians, they're fish. They rely more on instinct, or to put it simply, they're not very smart. You shouldn't be able to ride one like a jet ski. I'm trying to keep an open mind like Rockwell suggested, but this just feels wrong. That's the end of note number 12. She's right. Helena is right. Fish, while they can be intelligent, I don't see them like maybe dolphins, but not a megalodon. No, megalodon isn't. Like, it's a gray area when it comes to that, but like the things you can get these things to do, it doesn't link up. It's so easy to tell looking at ARK Park and then looking at ARK that one, they all cross together in the same timeline. Two, I referenced that she said
Stone Pig. On a planet just like Earth.
A planet just like Earth. So possibly their Earth was destroyed at that point in time, or they were on Earth and she was making a different type of reference like, hey, dinosaurs used to be here, or dinosaurs were on Earth, or, you know, dinosaurs existed maybe in this universe on other planets that were like Earth at the same time, which they could recolonize a different planet if it was like Earth. I don't see why not. But it all ties into that, along with the fact that they could be on the ARK stations, and we can see the obelisk that was there in the background before. It's proven they can be on Earth. I don't know their purpose, but they probably play into this entire thing too with ARK. 3, we have proof that these creatures were genetically modified to be more compassionate, I guess you could say, towards humans and not eat them. She got to pet a Rex. How many people in the world will ever be able to say, hey, when I was 5 years old and completely helpless as a little girl, I pet a Rex? Yeah. Good luck with that one, bud. Good luck with that one. So yeah, basically that's it. And for Extinction, I don't have much on this, but I will tell you, I heard from a very reliable source that a very high up in Wildcard, one of the lead developers confirmed that they did want, not that they were, but that they want to work on ARK's sequel. Now that seems very plausible to me. Why does it seem plausible? Look at your hard drive space. Look how much space ARK takes up. Look at how much content is in ARK. Why wouldn't they decide to push the bar even more with the millions that they've made and create what they will believe is one of the greatest survival games in the world? Arguably they have it already, but it's still lacking foundation support, but it's getting there. That's the point I'm trying to make, more or less. ARK 2 maybe, or the second ARK in the series, because while they say it's at the end of a DLC, they don't say that it's the end of ARK. I think there's going to be a second ARK, and I think they've had it under wraps for a long time. I think they've been working on something, and they just haven't told us because they've pulled all of these team members out and they've pulled resources into different projects other than ARK Park, which is delayed from what I understand, and Primal Survival. So that's my final stance on it. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, what you think. I'm going to take a moment to show you something that was recently released for ARK. You may not be interested at all. You might be really interested. I have no idea. I'm like 50-50 on it. You guys let me know your thoughts. Anyways, that is it for this video on ARK. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you learned something, and possibly maybe the theory is plausible, but with my luck, they've already confirmed somewhere that I just overlooked that ARK Park and ARK don't exist in the same universe, in which case this whole video and the hours of work I put in on it were for nothing. Oh well. You guys let me know what you think in the comments section, and if you think this is applicable. Did we see Earth before or after, still after, the catastrophic failure of the planet? What may have happened? Are there any clues in ARK Park that may point towards ARK's storyline? And do you think ultimately all the storylines intersect into one big grand storyline of loopholes and all kinds of different stuff? Let me know if there's a way to break this theory too. But that's it, and I will see you in the next video.